Let's get it on.
That Orlando crowd, they were really getting behind you. I mean, busting out Hurricane Ranas here in Orlando still unbelievable.
It's a Frankenstein. It's not a Hurricane Rana.
Very true.
That's a move that they copied from me. That's a move I invented. Don't ever call it a Hurricane Rana.
Frankenstein.
When you're talking to me.
All right.
All right?
Wait a second, time out. You're either going to cheer for me or you're going to cheer for him. And you either came out here to see the NWO or you came out here tonight to see this bullshit DX.
Hey, I found one that works. I did not do this. I did not do this, I promise you.
What did you get? You pulled out of your ass?
Well, let's not get personal.
Watch out, it's really my ass.
What I was trying to say is,
Joining us now from Surrey, BC, John Tantup. Welcome home, John.
Thank you very much.
What was it about the lifestyle of the sumo wrestler that you said, I've had enough, I don't want to take this anymore?
There's a lot of demands and a lot of pressure put on you. I had to answer to guys that were much younger than me. I had to do anything that my senior wrestlers asked me.
I read somewhere that you were a little tired about having sand pushed up your nose and into your mouth.
Well, I didn't really get too much of that. Got hit a little bit with sticks and a little bit of kicking and punching, but it was just a whole bunch of little things overall that worked into one big thing. You know, I'd get up every morning about 5:30, and well, we'd have practice, and then we'd have lunch, and then if I had a match, I'd have to go to the stadium, look after a senior wrestler, then come back, make sure, you know, look after him while he ate. So I wouldn't get rest, you know, until probably about 7:30 in the evening.
Why did they put you through that kind of harsh training?
Well, they're trying to get you to your top condition so that you don't feel pain. If you're sick or injured, you practice anyway.
You know that some of the articles indicate that perhaps the Japanese thought you might be a little soft for giving up and quitting the sport at this time.
Well, let's talk about something that we've touched on a little bit before. In April of '91, there's a joint show over in Japan, Super World of Sports. It's called the SWS Wrestle Dream. It's got 64,168 folks in the Tokyo Dome. Earthquake is going to wrestle, boy, I'm going to butcher this, Koji Katao in a battle of two former sumo wrestlers. John picks up the win in 6 minutes and 10 seconds. And Meltzer would say, believe it or not, this match got the most heat of the card. From a crowd standpoint, this was the best match on the card, but not from a wrestling standpoint. Both of these guys were very famous in Japan as sumo wrestlers before they got into wrestling. And Katao hasn't been able to shake his bad boy image with the general public. While some of the hardcore fans are beginning to cut him some slack when he works before a crowd that is largely not wrestling fans, he becomes the most over heel on the card. In turn, Tenta was the most over face on the card, and everything both men did got a big reaction. The work itself was described as sluggish, but not awful, with Tenta dominating most of the way to the big pops, 2.5 stars. 2 nights later, they're supposed to have a rematch, but Katao wouldn't work with Tenta when they got in the ring. He gets in a fighting pose with his fingers pointed out, symbolizing that he's going to attack John's eyes. John gets visibly upset, dares him to make a move, which he didn't. And not long after, he legitimately kicks the ref and gets DQ'd. Then he takes the mic and tells the fans that wrestling is fake, and he refuses to lose to him a second time as was scripted. The plug is quickly pulled on his mic and he's fired from the company. What a fucking story, man. What do you remember hearing about this?
Well, you did good with the first part of his name. It's Katao, Koji Katao. And Koji was a sumo champion that we had brought over with Tenryu to be a tag team and do some different things. And green as grass, but had a fucking chip on his shoulder you wouldn't believe. He walked in feeling that he was tougher, bigger, better than anybody that we had on the roster, and carried himself that way in the locker room. So that right away, people were looking at him like, okay, you big bastard, you know, hey, we're putting you over in here, but if you want to go, we'll go type thing. I remember at first it was Demolition that were in there with him. Brian Adams worked with him a little bit, and he was just shitty, green, stiff, and considered himself a shooter, but he just was kind of an asshole, really. By the time they got over there, the dream match for Japan, because John had been a sumo and had been a good sumo, someone that people knew about, they wanted that match. They wanted the battle of the sumos, turning pro.
Well, some people criticized me, but a lot of the Japanese press was also on my side. The system isn't run, I don't feel is run very well. A lot of other people feel it's not run well.
John actually was willing to do business. I'm sure John would have done anything that was asked of him to do. When Katao was asked to do business, he balked at it and was like, well, I could kill this guy in real life. And John took exception to that, saying, if you want to go out there and shoot, we can go out there and shoot. I think when they got in the ring, Katao tried Tenta a little bit, and realized that, hey, if you want to go out there and shoot, you're going to lose, motherfucker. So they had the match, then they came back, and it's time for the next match on whatever, the second or third night, whatever the hell it was. And Katao tried to shoot on Tenta again. And Tenta shut him down, which angered Katao even more because there had already been several days of promos amongst the boys and, riling Tenta up, riling Katao up, and things like, goddamn, John, he said he's going to fucking throw you into the third row. And he said when he gets you down, he's going to make you cry like a little bitch. He said something about sticking his thumb up your ass or something. And John's getting a little riled up. The other side, they're telling Katao, fuck that big fat fucker. He can't do anything. He's been in the fake wrestling world too long. Have your way with him. Embarrass him. So by the time they got in the ring, both guys, I think, were pretty well hyped up on, I'm going to show the other one who's boss. And Tenta very quickly let Katao know that he was the boss. And Katao didn't like it. Katao rolled out and cut the famous Japanese promo. This is all fake. It's fake wrestling, all that other wonderful crap. And Tenta offered to let him come back in the ring. He wasn't about to do that because he knew he would get his ass kicked, he being Katao. So Katao stuck his tail between his legs and headed on back to the house. And was done with pro wrestling for a while.
Probably a wise idea.
Yeah, he was a dick.
Well, what will you be doing? What does a retired sumo wrestler do?
Well, this one plans on going into professional wrestling back in Japan.
You're going back to Japan?
Yes, hopefully very soon.
Will you become the Hulk Hogan of Tokyo?
If you're new here, be sure to hit subscribe. If you liked the video, please make sure to leave a like and a comment below and tell us your thoughts. If you wanted to help out the channel as well, we also have memberships available, and you can check out our Twitch links in the description box below, as well as join our Discord. That's all we have for you today. We'll see you in the next one.